Welcome, welcome. Welcome to our last Abundance Challenge call for December. We don't say forever because we never know, and we'll pick this back up. But we have been in this group hanging out for 3 months, and we are just so excited to be here tonight to talk about ending the month strong, to talk about ways that we can not only kickstart our 2022, but we can also end our last month of the year strong. And that requires us to do some work, to be a part of a community that is running together in the same direction, which is bringing people health and wellness, that we are relentlessly tied to that mission, and we are united together in a purpose to do that. So that might require you to be a little bit uncomfortable tonight. You might have to do some things that you don't love necessarily doing. And we are going to talk about ending strong in some ways that you can do that, because sometimes I know I get caught up in my business where I'm like, what should I do? They say at the end of the month, the end of the year, and I'm just over here like living my life, posting some things, and I'm not sure what to do. I still feel that way sometimes 8 years, into this. But I want to kind of preface this. There's no rules to a power hour necessarily, but what I would encourage you to do, things that have been effective for me, that I've seen really effective in many of our teams, is making sure you're making it personal. So if you can leave a Facebook voice memo, and to show you how to do that, it's very simple. Rachel, I'm going to leave you one just because it's really awkward to pretend like I'm leaving one and not actually leaving one. So if you want to touch right here, see, there's a little microphone. Okay, it looks like I'm recording. Hey girl, I've been thinking about it. And for our brand partner hangout night on a Friday, it's really hard to nail down a date. So I am wondering if we should wait till the third Friday, or if a Sunday afternoon would be better. What are your thoughts? Send. So she has this little thing right here. Yeah, let's see, I'm recording. Hey girl, I've been thinking about it. And for our brand partner hangout night on a Friday, she wants to be friends. She left me a voice memo. It's so awesome. Or maybe it's this. Hey, Rachel, thanks so much for just that comment on my story. And I would love to send you the recipe. So I use oils that are all from Young Living. I don't know if you're familiar, if you've seen me post about it, but to make that room spray, I use a pretty pure vodka and water, and then those essential oils. Love to tell you more about it. When do you have time to connect tomorrow? Would morning or evening be best? Okay, so whatever it is, I was giving you two examples that were random. My point was I could be responding to someone like Rachel. I was just responding and talking the first time. The second time, she had commented on my story like, must smell delicious, right? Like some room, this room spray I made this year, it's called this Evergreen Street Room Spray. I've made it a ton. People are always commenting. People love it. So I messaged them back like that. Like, I don't message them back, like a screenshot of the recipe because that's dumb for my business, but I literally am casual and just say, I don't know if you've seen or that I use Young Living essential oils. That's all I would use in the room spray. Here's the other two ingredients. When can we connect to tell you more about it? And I always give two options. If you've been on a power hour with me before, that is always my key point. You're going to give two options. You're going to say, when can we connect? Would this time or this time be best? Here's the thing. If they say neither and they don't give an alternative time, they probably actually don't want to connect. And I don't want to be like Debbie Downer saying that, but like, if you really want to do something, I have a friend that has a private yoga instructor that comes to her house. She's like, Ashley, we're doing it at 1 p.m. on Monday or on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Which time works best? In my life, when I say, well, neither time works, basically what I said is, I don't care. Because I didn't say, well, actually 7 a.m. Friday is the only time I could do that if it worked. Make sense to everybody? And Tracy put over in the chat a format for Power Hour and what we're going to do. I don't know why I'm yelling. It's so embarrassing. I'm so sorry. It's because I'm tired of looking at myself and I can't wait to do some work. That's really what it is. We're going to go through, if you have your list with you, this is a list of your contacts. So I always look at it. It's very easy to think of it this way. It's going to be our friends. Okay. So it's going to be our frank list, our friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, kids. When it says kids, it's the kids' friends, kids' parents, depends on the age of the kids we're talking about, or maybe it's even like kids in your life, and people that are connected to them. Friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, kids. So what we're going to do tonight, we're actually going to spend our first section. We're going to jump right into it. We're going to take 10 minutes. We could probably use more, but let's go ahead and just take 10. And so you're going to reach out to people who are really prospects that are on this list, that are people who have not yet bought 100 PV to unlock the discount. They're not even customers yet. And you're looking at them to become a customer, maybe long-term a brand partner, but we want to have some fun with this. I'm going to leave lots of voice memos. I'm going to follow up with some people that I've already met with or talked about things with. And then I'm also going to message. I have a few people that have engaged in my stories. I'm going to message, kind of like I did Rachel. I'll leave voice memos, I'll type. But last tip is, if you're texting a personal phone number, I personally find that after 9 p.m. is not always well accepted. So I kind of cut off times at 9 p.m. unless it's someone that I'm like already friends with, but just it's kind of a warm and not a hot contact. I leave that until the morning. So I like to do between 8 a.m. to literally 9 p.m. I think it's acceptable, but email, Facebook, Instagram, I feel like it's all fair game. Those things I don't have alerts on, and they might not either. So let's go ahead and go work, 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 work. You got until 9:16 Eastern time, and then we'll report back. Be ready to share some wins. I'm going to mute right here. I will leave my camera on as people join. We will greet them. Let's go ahead and get to it. All right, all right. That went by quickly. I don't know about you guys, but I was busy in a great way. I want to go ahead and have you share your wins. I'm going to pass it off to another one of my co-hosts to give you our prompt for our next segment of the Power Hour. Anybody have wins to share? I know we're a small but mighty crowd tonight, guys, because we're the rock stars. We're actually the people who make a difference in the world. We're right here.
I'll just say, honestly, I did a story today on Instagram, and anybody that even liked it or like did a heart or a smiley face, I just spent time messaging them all back with like written messages instead of, like, how you can like tap and it like puts a heart on their comment or something or whatever. I instead typed something out so that they would engage back. And I don't know if you guys know, but the more you engage in a DM, that means that they'll see my stories more. There's a little strategy tip there.
All right, Rachel, why don't you go ahead and lead us into our next segment? Thank you.
Does anybody else want to share anything? Were you guys just leaving messages or contacting? Okay. For the next, I guess what, 10, are we doing the next 10 minutes? I plan to follow up with any leads. And so for me, this is a little different. The first part was like, okay, I'm adding value or trying to engage with people that just engage with me, whether it was with the business or not. But this part, I'm being really intentional with going back through my messages, going back through anything that I've posted to see if someone has commented or even liked an essential oil post I did, or even a DIY, and messaging them just to start the conversation. I've also had a few people a while ago ask me about something or ask me to buy. And then when I sent them the link, maybe followed up right afterwards, I didn't hear from them. So I'm going to kind of circle back around and just kind of be in their line of sight again. So I think for this portion, just following up, whether that's really intentional with talking about oils or asking questions. I find that asking questions is obviously powerful, but I like to always say, hey, I've been thinking about you. I think that's very personable to the person that you're talking to. And it's not just, hey, what's up? It's, hey, I've been thinking of you. And so that's kind of how I lead into this next portion, with touching back with people that I might have had an ongoing conversation with, that might have commented on something like Young Living specific in the past. So even if you have to spend this time to go back, however far that is, through messages, through post, anything that is, just to get back into that line of sight with that person, or just having that touch back. I will say that Ashley touched back with me at least, Ashley, gosh, was it like 10 times before I actually came to an event? And it was that drip of communication with her that really kind of, she was like really in my line of vision. And they say, I think it takes about 10 to 14 exposures before for someone to like, know, and trust you. So this portion is just going to be that, increasing those exposures for that like, know, trust factor. And then even if you want to lead into, hey, I've been thinking of you, and adding value to that person, or circling back with something oils related. Okay, so we'll take 8 minutes, because I know the drive's at 30, or power hour, 10 minutes. We'll set the timer and we'll start now. Okie dokie. I would love to hear from you guys. And then I just kind of wanted to stress that I know during this power hour, like messaging people or commenting on their stuff or just even engaging might seem small, but it's the small things that even, that compound over time. Again, just doing those things over and over and over again in your head, you might think, oh, I could miss it this day, or it's not that big of a deal. It really is a big deal when you're touching in with that person for the 10th, 12th, 13th, 14th time over a span of time. It really does make an impact. And so that's kind of why we do these power hours, just to kind of model for you what that looks like so that you can do these power hours, whether it's with a friend or even just setting aside that time yourself. It doesn't have to be a power hour. It could just be you sitting on your couch for 15 minutes a day, having that commitment of doing this small task, whether it's touching in, that's actually really monumental in social selling. It's a really big part of our business model, right? So does anybody want to share? I mean, I don't care if it was like I just messaged one person and started a conversation. Has anyone talked back to you?
I'll share.
Okay, Kathy.
Hi. Well, I left the call for a minute because I'm on my phone. And so I got in touch. I've been going back and forth with my hairdresser. Her name is Candace. So Candace has a salon in a city called Temecula in California, which is a very charming community, a winery type thing, old town. And I want to do a pop-up there. And so I had been talking to her about people she knows and that her boss knows, because her boss has had the shop there, right there in, Old Town Temecula, Tracy? Yeah. And so I texted her and she got right back because I knew she was online because she's been looking at my stories in Facebook. So she does have we're going to talk with her her boss. And she thinks that that'll be great to work out. They've got pop-ups all over in Temecula. And so I want to do that and be that person. It's the cutest community. And so anyway, that was the win for me.
That's awesome, Kathy. Anybody else?
Rachel, I was just going to say, I do the same as you. Like, I go in there and if they're engaging with me, I go in and engage with them. And I also do that with Facebook as well, because I do post to like a public Facebook page. And so kind of the same thing, asking questions, going back and forth, which I feel like is really key to the engagement, and keeping that algorithm up. I also do the same thing with email. And this is why I love to do power hours, because I remember, okay, I'm going to do that during power hour. If someone's asked me a question about something, it's easy to kind of fall off. And I don't know if this helps anybody, but for anybody who's even like remotely on my prospect list, I use Gmail and I have a folder on my Gmail. And any conversation that I've had with someone who's been remotely interested, I put them, right? Like I save to that folder. I am that person who does not like to have a long inbox. Like if I have inbox 0, I'm very happy. Like that's my goal personally, but I know I'm a weirdo. I'm like a weirdo like that, organization weirdo. You may not be that way, but it helps me because you know what I have, you know what my label is for that folder? Follow up. So I know I need to follow up. So in a power hour like this, it's sort of like not even a question. For you, it might be a notebook. or for you, it might just be some other way that you're keeping track. Maybe it's in a notepad, right? Like on an app on your phone, but I have that folder that says follow up. So even on any email that anyone's remotely asked me a question, I use these power hour times or any one block of hour, and I go through and I'm like, hey, just following up. Do you need anything? Do you have any questions? Like I will copy, paste, copy. Like that's just how my brain kind of works. But for anybody out there who might also use email, just wanted to let you know, like if some people will tag the email, I like to put them in a folder, whatever kind of works for you to kind of do your follow-up system. But that works for me. And that's what I was doing, Rachel.
That's awesome. You're so organized. I honestly, like, whatever your mode of communication is, mine primarily is Facebook Messenger and Instagram. I will scroll. Like I will, if it takes me, sometimes it'll take me 8 to 10 minutes and I'll scroll all the way just see if there's anybody that like I missed or like, I don't know. You know, there's times I've answered people where I could have gone more in depth. And guys, even existing members, like think about it this way. Yes, there's prospects, but also you have people on your team, they only might use lavender and Thieves household cleaner. So you can connect with them, you can engage with them, you can get to know them, and there's so much there. I was just messaging with someone earlier who saw something I posted in my group. And instead of saying, she was like, hey, I liked what you posted, thanks. Instead of saying, you're welcome, I was like, hey, so have you used it before? Do you know what it's for? Like, have you ever used it? Just to open the dialogue. Because a lot of times everything's so hurried nowadays, people really don't ask questions. I'm almost surprised now when people ask me questions about me. That's really sad, but I just feel like, I mean, in our industry, we train that, right? But people are just touch and go, like, thanks, bye. Okay, like we're very transactional and quick, just our culture and society as a whole. So taking the time to dig deeper is so appreciated and well received most of the time. So instead of saying you're welcome, ask a question. Like ask a question. And not only does that, it requires them to engage again, but it keeps that chat thread alive. You know what I'm saying? They don't, unless you keep them in a note folder thing, like Tracy was saying. Some people do Excel spreadsheets. Yeah, you know, like I learned from all you guys, but you literally have to do what works for you. There are parts of my house that are a mess. I have a junk drawer. I need order. I do require order. I have a junk drawer, but I know where everything is in that junk drawer. So you literally don't feel ashamed for your junk drawer or your system as long as it works. As long as you're following up, it don't matter what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Okay. Anybody, Tracy, did you want to do our next, close us out with our next thing?
Yeah, I would be really happy to. And I feel like it's really timely given we're at the end of the month. So I want to talk about some end of the month power hour tasks for you to do. And again, use that link that I posted earlier in the chat. If not, I'll post it again. But it's just kind of a framework that you can use that I personally like to use, because if I have to remember off the top of my head, I will forget. So I have these end of the month tasks. It's like saved on my phone or it's in my notepad, but I like systematically, again, that's just how my brain personally works. But for you, maybe you put it on a calendar or whatever kind of works for you. But this is the time, you guys, to really dig in deep. And this is a great thing to do at night, I feel like, going through and doing your follow-up for end of the month. So what do I mean by this? Who has a missed ER order? Who's missing out on a paycheck, right? Those are our money missers. Who has orders, you know, after the 28th of the month, right? Like maybe just kind of touch in with them to make sure that they've got everything in there. Just following up with all of those different things. And you can pull reports on how to do that in the virtual office. That's what I do. And you can send a text message, right? Whether it's individually sending text messages out to people, you can, if you've got a lengthy list, maybe, and you use Project Broadcast, you can download that, upload it into Project Broadcast, I usually schedule things for daytime going out via text to my members. You can send an email, like Ashley said, right? Email is kind of, you can send that pretty much anytime, right? Just like a Facebook Messenger, if that's the way you kind of communicate with people, you could even Facebook message people. But this is the time to dig in deep and make sure you're following up with those people. I will tell you, it's heartbreaking when someone's been on subscription, right, for years. Their order didn't go through, and for whatever reason, it just got missed, right? Their ER order didn't go through, and then they're like, I didn't get my order, and now my percentage is all messed up, right? I don't want to, I'm going back to 10%. So really dedicating your time, this time right now, the next, 10 to 12 minutes to go through, and maybe you're not going through all of them. Maybe you're just pulling one report, but after this call, you're going to kind of continue it on, right? To go through the others who you need to follow up with. This is also an excellent time to look at who's close to something, like a milestone, right? Maybe they're close to a rank. Maybe they're just missing out on something big, right? Maybe they had like a middle milestone, right? It's not senior star, but they're right at 1,000, right? Or getting close to 1,000 in OGV. But really reaching out to people and reaching out to people to encourage them, or maybe it's people who taught their first class, had their first enrollment. This is a really good time. Again, I love using Facebook Messenger for this particular reason. And this works great, especially when you've got a connection with someone, but the voice messages that Ashley did, I love to do voice messages for this type of thing. Hey, you're so close to this. What can I do to help you? You still have a few days left. Tell me what's going on. What can I do to help, right? That's for someone who might be close to rank. For someone who just had their first enrollment, it could be a similar message. Hey, just wanted to let you know, congratulations on enrolling your first person. That is amazing. What can I do to help? Can I help you plan for, January? Do you have anybody else on your list? In addition to that, I think also looking at anybody who has enrolled someone, but maybe isn't a brand partner yet. So you can pull these reports. You can use Virtual Office, Oily Trends, but these are fantastic reports to be pulling, right? And making sure that you're tackling all those different things. This is about exactly the time of the month that I really love to tackle them, because you still have 3-4 days to get those all done. So let's start with something that's easy. Let's start with money missers. Missed ER orders. Go to your virtual office. Okay, so if you've not done this before, I feel like everybody on the call, I can see you all here. I think everybody here has done it before, but go to your virtual office, okay? Look at your members, and then you can see there, right? You can pull a report for ER. I think it's, I have to go look at it real quick, but I think it's ER, but error, right? Your orders are error, and you can see right there the people that you need to contact. That would be the first place that I would start right now, that you can probably knock through at least some of them, right, in the next 10 to 12 minutes. So let's start with that, and we'll come back and share our wins in just a bit. Okay, just wrapping up that last bit there. So tell me, who has a success or just anything to share? Were you able to work through that report and send a few messages? Did you already hear back from someone? I know it's getting late for some of you on the East Coast. I just went through that list myself, and I will tell you, just in that, what was it, 10-minute period, I went to go see who was missing an ER order. I emailed them from the virtual office. I also downloaded the list, uploaded it into Project Broadcast, and sent it out through Project Broadcast as well. And I had a couple of leaders in there who I was like, oh no, they need more than an email. I'm going to actually message them personally and go, hey, you need to do it. So just wanted to let you know, in 10 minutes, you can get a lot done. It's just, when you're consistent with it, right? And you've got like the messaging, I sort of save my messaging, right, for my email, for my text, and I just copy paste. But I know we had some questions on this too. So who has anything to share? A win? Did you send it out? Did you pull that report for the first time this month? Who has something to share? Would love to hear from you. Everybody's still working through it. You can get a lot done in 10 minutes, I'm telling you. Well, I just wanted to address some questions here because Allison had a question about for someone who's coming up on a missed ER report. Okay, so if they have opted to get subscriptions every 2 or 3 months, they shouldn't show up in an errors report. However, addressing your question, Allison, if they don't order every month at least 50 PV, the percentage they're going to earn back is going to be 10%. In order to get to that, 20 and 25%, they need to actually be ordering every month at least 50 PV. So hopefully that answers that question. And so for when you're running that report of people who have essential rewards errors, those are actually people, right, who haven't gotten an order. And it could be a number of different things. The most common things that I find are it's a credit card issue, right? Or something fell out of their cart and so it didn't quite make the 50 PV. Actually, usually those will still process, but just under the amount. So be sure you're looking at that too. How many people do you see on your list where it processed under 50 PV or under 100 PV? That's another list to kind of go through. It's good. Yeah, it's good. And you know what, for those of you who are saying they came up as errors, not skips, this is another great point to just follow up with people. I will often just say, you've already probably heard from me, or I might have already talked to you about this before, but I just want to make sure. I would rather over communicate than not say anything at all. Does that make sense? Because then they know she's really looking out for me. She doesn't want me to lose my loyalty points or my earning percentage. So I am in the boat of over communicating. So if you're not sure, I would just contact those two people and go, I just want to make sure because I don't want you to miss out. Let me know. Do you need help? So hopefully that helps you too. Okay, you guys, we want to make sure we're giving you the gift of time. We went through that missed ERs list, but there's still some other things that you can do. Again, it's on that spreadsheet that I will post here in just a second, but that is a great thing to work on through end of month. The other thing that I would suggest for end of month is working through and planning out for next month. This is the perfect time to be thinking in January, what classes, what are some opportunities to buddy up with someone? I know for many of you, you've got accountability partners. How about teaching classes together? How did that go this month, right? Reaching out to someone and saying, let's do a class together, or maybe someone in your downline, maybe they enrolled someone, maybe they've talked about sharing. This is a great time to follow up with them and see who wants to teach a class. Maybe it's online, maybe it's sharing on social media, but plugging them into resources and linking arms with them and seeing who wants to do something in the next month. So be sure you use this time as well to plan out your January. If you didn't already know, January is a fantastic time to be talking about Ningxia Red, right? Doing like a Ningxia Red type of challenge, a cleanse, supplements, right? Those are the types of things that tend to resonate really well in January. Sleek would be great, right? For the things that are in stock. That's definitely a good tip, Allison. Make sure the things that you're going to talk about are in stock. Some of us are going to be talking about the golden turmeric supplement, which is phenomenal, but really be thinking about, like, you know, what are sort of the needs for your members? What are some of the things that are going to resonate with them? And that could be a great thing to do in January. And Allison, in that Dropbox link in the chat, that does have a list of the end of the month tasks in there. And I'll also post it in our Abundance Challenge group for our Gather and Dwell group. We already have it posted there. All right, everybody, just wanted to say thank you so much for working with us through this power hour. I know it's late. I know it's end of the month. You guys are rock stars. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are amazing. Have a wonderful night. We'll have the replay up in just a little bit, and you can use this replay to create your own power hours. You can do it on your own with your accountability partner, with your team, and do the work time together if you need it. So thank you so much for being here.